Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm just getting back to camp, taking off my makeup and getting ready for the evening, and I thought this would be a great time to kind of just share a few things that have been on my mind as of late. Don't worry, I won't be in the green light the whole time. I'm about to actually go back outside, take a deep breath, and enjoy the last little moments of daylight. Feel a little bit better, refreshed after a long day of exploring. It's been really good. Riley and I said we were going to go out and potentially adventure for a month, 2 months. But this next leg of the trip is actually going to be something that's mostly brand new to both of us. And with that comes a lot of planning and a lot of preparing and a lot of just out there winging it also. So we've kind of been putting together a few things to help us travel as friends even before we came out on the road. And I think that that has really been instrumental in helping us. Now, you guys might not know, but when Riley and I travel together, we like to split up a lot of the things that we do. And so in doing so, we found that there's a few easy ways to communicate with one another. And those aren't always just when we're in the vehicles. It's well before that. There's 2 of us and we have 2 different vehicles, which means that any place that we stay, we have to make sure it's big enough for not only one vehicle, but also the other. So that means that if we book a campsite somewhere, we have to make sure that they allow 2 different vehicles there, not just one. We also have to make sure that the length of the campsite, if we book one, is long enough to accommodate both my NV200 and Riley's Subaru Outback. These are things that you can find out most of the time on a booking site online. They have the links of the sites. So that part's pretty easy. And we don't usually pay for a lot of sites. We like to do sites like these in wildlife management areas or in national forests. But on the rare occasion that we do get a paid site like we did earlier in this trip, those things, they matter. Right now we're over at Riley's Subaru, which brings us to our next planning phase. We both decided that we were going to carry food, and each of us have our own increment of food that we had allotted for the trip. So Riley has these plastic boxes and all of the different items that she's supposed to have. And then I have my shelf right here, which is also packed full and very organized with food. But how do we decide who carries what? It started out long before we even took off on our journey. We decided that because we both had some things that we wanted to bring with us that are our adventure meals or our foods that we normally have or our condiments that we already had ready, that it was easier for us to decide what we needed by putting together a shared note. Now, different phone services allow you to do different things. Both of us have iPhones, so we put together a shared note on our iPhones, which we can both contribute to, and we each put our list of what we had and then how many of them we had and would be bringing. Now, you might think, okay, that's a good start, but how does this work when you're on the road? Well, we can go into a grocery store with that list, and as we use the things, we either check them off or we eliminate them altogether. And in doing so, that tells us if we liked the thing or if we need more of the thing or if we're finished with the thing. Now, it looks kind of like this, and you can see right here a lot of the different things that we have. We also add creative notes if something is specific to something else, and that's why it's being packed. So a lot of our items that we have are divided up, as you can see, into categories. And so we can go into a grocery store at any given time and know what we have in both of the vehicles, which cuts down on us buying duplicates or things that we might not use. So that's been super handy, and also kind of as a budget saving situation, because if Riley were to carry the same things that I'm carrying, we would just have double of the same items instead of having meal ideas to go with those things. It's very helpful. Next comes down to our storage. You might notice that both Riley and I have roof boxes. And so both of us carry certain items that we individually need, but then we also carry things that we could use together. For example, we each carry our own independent chairs. That's a given. You need your own chair. Riley in hers has the fire pit because she owns a fire pit. I don't. So she carries that item, which is a little bit more bulky. And I, in exchange, carry the larger camping table. Now, there's other things that we also kind of trade out on. So we talked on the phone and discussed what we were loading up before we actually hit the road so that we could have a complimentary setup whenever we do decide to actually sit still. And that isn't just the roof boxes or the food. it goes further. As you can imagine, we both don't have a lot of space and neither one of us can stand up. So making the most of our space is super important. So each of us can only carry a certain amount of items in our van. That means that Riley has a portion of camp cooking that she can do whenever she's solo, and I have a portion of camp cooking that I can do when I'm solo. But when we're together, we have a few things that overlap. So if we know we're going to be consistently traveling together, what we do is we plan that out. Example, we will both bring our stoves. Hands down, we need to, because after we spin off and going different directions, we still need to be able to have access to fire. So that's super important. But Riley carries a large wok, which makes up for the fact that I don't carry a regular pan. I carry my ridge monkeys, and then I also carry a few other things. But what we do is we kind of figure out who has what and how we can make different items in those. For example, before I got my deep dish ridge monkey, I could not boil pasta enough for the two of us. It just wasn't possible. So Riley would always provide her wok, and that would make life a little bit easier. But there were other things that I had, like the small ridge monkey, where we could use that for various things that don't necessarily work as well in a wok. It's about balance, guys. That's what it's really about. Riley.
Yeah, what you need?
So, question for you.
Yeah.
Whenever we first started traveling together, did you ever think that we'd be traveling as much as we travel now?
Yeah, we travel a lot together, don't we?
Yeah, and I think it's because we get along pretty well and we discuss our icks.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing that a lot of people fail to do before they hit the road is learn their friend.
Yeah, although I don't know that most people spend as much time as we do together too.
That's true. But it is very handy. For example, I know that Riley does not like certain things. She knows that I don't like certain things. So we try to avoid them. For example, Riley does not like mushrooms. So whenever I'm cooking food, I know that I'm not going to be like, here's the mushroom, Riley. Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it? And she knows that I hate snakes. So she knows if she sees one, I'm not going there, and it's okay. Yeah. Learn about your friends. Learn about how they travel. Learn about what they're looking forward to doing, what they're not looking forward to doing, what they're afraid of, what they like to eat and what they don't like to eat. Now, this could all be a little bit different for each person because not everyone is going to split their meals like Riley and I do. But if you are splitting your meals, make sure that what you're getting is something everyone can eat or have options for everyone. For example, if you're traveling with a vegan friend, don't try to serve them meat. It's not going to go anywhere. If you have a friend who has an allergy to something, maybe don't feed them that, and you wouldn't know unless you've spoken about it. Looking on at the sun right now, but this brings us to our next thing.
Yeah.
Emergency contacts.
Yes.
It's so important.
So important. We both did this weird thing where we we gave each other like doomsday squads or like group chats of our other friends so that we could notify the correct people if something bad were to happen. That's the funny part, but the other important part is like I gave you my parents' contact info and I have your parents' contact and my parents have your all of that stuff. It's good. It's really, really good.
You are traveling with a friend. Make sure that you know how to contact someone if something does hit the fan. We're hoping that this never happens and it's just something that we have for just having sake. However, always be responsible and take care of that because that's a really big one. Another thing that you should always know about your friend who you're traveling with is if they have to take any kind of medications. Now, I always suggest if someone has to take medication to leave a card on their physical being, but also in their vehicle at some point, so that if you are away from your vehicle and you have a medical issue, you still can tell people, hey, I have to take these meds because there's certain things that they cannot give you to help you with certain scenarios if you are taking. And so knowing those things is so important. But if you don't know where your friend's little safety card is, ask them, do you have any allergies to medications? Do you have any medications I should know that you're taking? Do you have any health risks or concerns that are going on, bad things that could be handy to note just in case? We always hope that we don't get to those places, but if we do, it's always better to know rather than to find out the hard way. Isn't this beautiful? But this brings me to my next point. Believe it or not, map service. Without a map, you can't find beautiful campsites like this. Things with this. Number one, you need to know where your friend is at all times. So if you can share your location through an app like Find My Friend, then you can know where they are in case you do get separated. But also, coordinating your map service. If you're both using Google, then you'll always end up in the same place. If you're both using Apple, you'll end up in the same place. Check both of the different kinds of maps and cross-reference to make sure that you are on the same page should you get lost. Which brings me to another one, radios. We use walkie-talkie radios to communicate from Riley's to my van frequently. We let each other know about road conditions. We tell each other if there's something weird on the side of the road that we need to be looking for. We also communicate if there is a turn ahead that is coming up really quickly, just so we can make sure that we're on our toes when it comes to those things. But it's also come together in a pinch whenever Riley had an accident in the P&W, and we were able to quickly communicate and both of us get to a stopping point that was safe. And that is why walkie-talkies are your best friend. But not least, plan where you want to go. Talk to your friend, find out what their interests are, what they can and cannot do. If you have a friend who is a novice hiker, don't take them on an expert level trail. They will not want to go with you anymore. Same thing if you go to a place that is just not very interesting. If you have differing interests, you can always split apart from your group and go do your own things and then link back up. In fact, that's actually how we do a lot of things with Riley and I. If there's things that I want to do that are like little brain wrinkles and going into museum, or like perhaps places that Tyson can't go, Riley will go and do things that she wants to do in that area also, and then we'll just get back together at the end of the day and just be like, oh my gosh, look, I did these things and it was so fun. And then celebrate your friends' joys, because that is so important. If your friend hits a milestone, if your friend does something on their bucket list, if your friend does something amazing during the day when you're split apart, celebrate that. That is something that is part of their journey, and that journey is unique and special just like yours is. So getting together with friends and traveling can be so much fun. But at the same time, if you're not celebrating each other's joys, accomplishments, and happiness, why are you traveling together in the first place? She's in her car right now. She looks all comfy cozy. We are about to call it a night here at our campsite. I'm so excited. And probably won't go to bed yet because it's still really nice outside.
Yeah, it's only 6 o'clock.
But it's getting to the dark hour where everything gets real dark out here because there's no lights. I hope this video has been helpful to you. I know that I have thoroughly enjoyed traveling with not only Riley, but some of my other friends in the past, and using all these tips have really helped us, but especially on this trip, because we're planning on going for an extended amount of time to some really interesting places that are going to be a little bit different. You guys will see those adventures really soon. I'm very much excited about bringing them to you. And remember, guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Find a friend, get to know them, learn all the things you need to do, and hit the road and do something epic. Till next time, guys. Bye!